Kash Patel wrote a book called Government Gangsters.
I am going to go on a government gangsters manhunt in Washington, D.C. for our great president. Who's coming with me?
When they get to Kash Patel, and I know Kash pretty well, it's going to be a lot of fireworks.
We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out.
We love the American dream. And we have been given a gift by God today to usher in a new dynasty, because we just inaugurated Donald J. Trump as our 47th president. And we just inaugurated J.D. Vance as our Vice President of the United States.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, James David Vance, do solemnly swear.
I, James David Vance, do solemnly swear.
And we did that because the American dream is alive and well, because you chose that our dream can be the dream for our children and the dream for our world. And we are at a crossroads here in America. But our future is bright because you had the courage to stand for your convictions. So I'm humbled here to talk to you about why I love the American dream.
Kashyap Pramod Vinod Patel, known as Kash Patel, was born on February 25, 1980, in Garden City, New York, to Indian Gujarati immigrant parents. His parents initially moved from Uganda to Canada in the early 1970s to escape ethnic repression and later settled in the United States.
My story's pretty simple. It's unique, and some of you share in it. My parents were born and raised in East Africa. My father in the 1970s fled a genocidal dictatorship in Uganda, where he saw 300,000 of his countrymen murdered, where he saw what lawlessness would do if it was allowed to break through the system of constitutional justice. He fled, like so many others.
His father worked as a financial officer at an aviation firm. Raised in the Hindu faith, Patel completed his high school education at Garden City High School on Long Island. He then earned a Bachelor of Arts in History and Criminal Justice from the University of Richmond in 2002, followed by a Juris Doctor from Pace University School of Law in 2005. Additionally, he obtained a certificate in international law from University College London in 2004.
He married my mother. They moved here. They waited in line. They stood in line because the American dream was worth standing in line for. That dream is woven into the fabric of this nation, and our immigration policy is the greatest policy in the world. And now that we have Donald J. Trump and J.D. Vance, it will become the greatest policy in the world again.
Kash Patel, a loyalist of President Trump, is set to don the role of the director of the FBI in the new administration. He will appear before a U.S. Senate committee on January 30th for a confirmation hearing to be the next director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. A prominent figure in American politics, Patel is an Indian origin lawyer who has been at the helm of many key positions in the U.S. government. Ever since Trump's nomination, Patel has been in the spotlight, and everyone is eagerly waiting to see how he adds to the president's America First agenda.
And our biggest enemy against that truth is the deep state. And we are on a mission to annihilate the deep state.
Senator, to cut to the chase, you're clearly talking about Kash Patel. I don't believe he has an enemies list. He made a quote on TV, which I have not heard.
Kash Patel wrote a book called Government Gangsters.
I am going to go on a government gangsters manhunt in Washington, D.C. for our great president. Who's coming with me? That is unacceptable in 2025 in the United States of America. That is why we need constitutional law and order. But dreams and hopes aren't enough, my friends. We got to get to work. We are not prioritized to go after the threats that face this country, and most of all, that face our future generations. But thank God, we will be starting right now.
In that book, it lists individuals that Patel considers the quote-unquote deep state. People on the deep state list include President Biden, former Attorney General for Donald Trump, Bill Barr, Attorney General Garland, Robert Mueller, what Patel calls the quote entire fake news.
I know that Kash Patel has had 60 jury trials as a public defender, as a prosecutor. He has great experience in the Intel Department, Department of Defense. I have known Kash, and I believe that Kash is the right person at this time for this job.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops.
And I'm questioning you right now about whether you will enforce an enemies list that he announced publicly on television.
Oh, Senator, I'm sorry. There will never be an enemies list within the Department of Justice.
President Trump and J.D. Vance's leadership and administration will usher in the priorities that I cherished during my 16 years in government service. That we will always, always honor the men and women who wear the cloth of our nation and stand on that wall and tell you nothing's getting by them tonight. And so to them, thank you. To our teachers and our frontline workers and our first responders, y'all choose to show up every single day for our children, for our communities, and we will now show up for you. Thank you for keeping us safe. To the men and women in law enforcement, and maybe I'm biased on this one. Our police officers, our sheriffs, our federal agents are some of the greatest warriors that God has ever created. And we will put them first because they have our backs, and now we will have your backs. I am standing here because of the American dream. I am not standing here because of the color
Kash
of my
Patel's
skin.
career spans
I'm
law
standing here
enforcement,
because I am
national security, and high-level government advisory roles. After earning his law degree, Patel moved to Florida and joined the Florida Bar in 2006. He served as a public defender for 8 years, first in Miami-Dade County and later as a federal public defender. Patel handled cases involving serious felonies such as international drug trafficking, murder, firearms violations, and bulk cash smuggling. In 2014, Patel became a trial attorney in the U.S. Department of Justice National Security Division. He also served as a legal liaison to the Joint Special Operations Command. In 2017, he was appointed Senior Counsel on Counterterrorism at the House Intelligence Committee. Patel joined the House Intelligence Committee under Chairman Devin Nunes in 2017, playing a pivotal role in Republican efforts to counter investigations into Trump's ties with Russia. He authored the controversial 2018 Nunes memo, which accused the FBI of misconduct in surveilling Trump campaign aide Carter Page. The memo was criticized as biased, but became a rallying point for Trump supporters. Patel took on various roles within the Trump administration. In 2019, he was appointed Senior Director of Counterterrorism at the National Security Council, NNSC, where he reportedly led a secret mission to Syria for hostage negotiations. Patel was also accused of independently influencing Trump's Ukraine policy, leading to defamation lawsuits against media outlets. In 2020, Patel moved to the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, ODNI, as a principal deputy to Acting Director Richard Grenell. He accompanied Trump on a state visit to India and was considered one of the most influential figures in national security. After Trump's firing of Defense Secretary Mark Esper in November 2020, Patel was appointed Chief of Staff to Acting Secretary of Defense Christopher C. Miller. He was reportedly instrumental in troop withdrawal efforts and allegedly blocked cooperation with the Biden transition team. Patel was also considered for leadership roles at the FBI or CIA, facing opposition from key officials. Throughout his career, Patel has been a highly influential and controversial figure, known for his close ties to Trump and his involvement in national security and intelligence operations.
Whether I was a national security prosecutor, a public defender, President Trump's deputy director of national intelligence, his chief of staff at the Department of Defense, or so many other roles that I was humbled and privileged to serve when I swore an oath to that Constitution, which I hope to do so again one day soon. You have my word that you have ushered in a dynasty of change. You have ushered in a dynasty that will allow our children to live this American dream. My American dream. I am living the world's American dream. I am the son of lawful immigrants. We worked our tails off just like you all do, and I'm going to make you a deal. I promise you I will never quit on your children. I will never quit on their children, because this American dream does not belong to me. It does not belong to them. This American dream belongs to the world.
The thing about Kash is he can say things and he writes things that can be taken out of context, but what they don't, I've known him for about 15 years. He's got a photographic memory. He really does. He's a brilliant guy. And what he's going to do, and I think everybody knows it, he's going to bring back all these guys and women that are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s that were driven out by the Mueller, Comey, McCabe, Wray regimes when they got sick of the weaponization. So he's going to be surrounded by professional FBI people that were dissidents and wanted to restore the reputation of the FBI. It's going to be restoration.
In this case, someone like Patel, who, as Sarah reported, an extreme Trump political loyalist, would he try to get FBI employees to investigate Trump's opponents? Would he try to stop any investigations that began within Trump's orbit? That is a major question.
I am standing here because of the American dream. I am not standing here because of the color of my skin. I'm standing here because I earned my right on this stage, and you earned your right to be here with me. And I promise you this, with every fiber of my being, that our law enforcement, that our teachers, that our first responders, that our veterans, that our men and women in uniform who dare to serve this country and put themselves below the rest of our needs will be reprioritized to the top of the heap, because they are standing on that wall, and we will not let that light go dark on them. So in closing, I just want to tell you this. It's pretty cool to be speaking in Capital One Arena right before the boss. Under Donald J. Trump and J.D. Vance, where we are going to end the two-tier system of justice, we are going to remove the weaponization of the intelligence community for political purposes, and we are going to put the men and women of America first. There's just one thing left to do. We all got work to do. We've got the greatest president and the greatest vice president in the history of the world. And so I just need you all to do a little bit more. Every time you see a law enforcement officer, every time you see a veteran, every time you see a teacher, shake their hand. Give them a little bit of your time, because they're giving us all of our time. And don't forget to enjoy the ride, ladies and gentlemen. God bless America. God bless these United States of America. God bless every one of you. I'm living the American dream. My name is Kash Patel, and I ain't going anywhere. Let's go to work.
Do you think the American dream is still alive in Trump's America? Are you optimistic about the future? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.